What is your American dream?
I come from Myanmar. The American dream to me is to be able to start my own business one day.
I am from Texas. My family is from Guatemala. My American dream is pursuing happiness while also having stability.
I'm from Connecticut. My American dream is to fight for justice and to scream for the voiceless.
I'm from the former Soviet Union, which is now known as Russia. The American dream to me, despite being an immigrant, means to give the opportunities and dreams to my children the same way that my family gave to me.
I'm from China. My American dream is to be a fashion designer in New York because I love fashion so much.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Prior successful results do not guarantee similar outcomes.
Sam, what are you doing?
I'm just reading the disclaimer for today's show.
But the disclaimer is at the end of the show. You do the top of the show. Remember, you didn't want to read the disclaimer. Brad reads the disclaimer.
Oh.
Why don't you do what you always do? Tell everybody what aired on the show last Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, great. Good job. Thanks, Sam. You're the best.
Groundhog Sam! Hi, everybody. Welcome back from Memorial Day weekend. In case you missed Wednesday's episode of Brad Show Live, we had Sharon Farsajani on. Sharon wrote a memoir titled Shaming
show.
Shaming my red lips.
Shaming my red lips. Shaming Brad. There's nothing like being told, hey, by the way, you're on live.
Right in.
Way to go. Way to go in the booth. We like it.
Be on our
Thumbs up.
A-game.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Perhaps they're still on Memorial Day weekend over there.
Right.
Do you think?
Yes,
Do you think most people are? Well, welcome back, everybody. Day after Memorial Day, and I don't know what happened to the rest of Sam.
I know. That's exactly what Stacey Ann Hodge said. She's like, you guys cut off Sam.
Yeah, we cut off Sam. I wonder if we can speak to somebody in the booth and we could actually see Sam and watch Sam, because he had a lot to say, or she. They're trying. Sam, I'm told Sam is
probably back there pissed.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, I just got an email from him resigning.
Whoa!
Unless we can play. Yes.
Listen,
unless we can play this all over again.
Well,
in the meantime, we'll say hello to everybody, and hopefully we can get Sam going back, and he can come back because he's a little feisty.
Right.
Little feisty.
That little one.
You know, I would say over the weekend after a few beers, but. You know, I would say something else would be a MF, but but I don't say this is a PG show here. So, Ma Dukes, how are you? By the way, Barbara Lord was sending text messages to us at around 5:37. Said, with the emoji with the 5:37, the thinking emoji, 5:37, reminding us to start the show. We have to apologize. Our technical team, our crack technical team. I don't want to call out anybody's names, but it starts with a V. But our crack technical team updated all our software, and you know what happens when you update software and don't tell anybody?
Nothing ever works.
Nothing works.
Nothing good happens.
Nothing good happens. So that's why we're a little late, but we're better late than never. So hello, Ma Dukes, Charmaine Ingram, Princess Martin Unique, Barbara Lord, Malia Lobin Martin, Deanna Watson, Tamika Nelson, how are you? Marjorie Thompson, and Barbara Lord. We finally saying hello to her. Christy Consali. This is all on Brad Show Live, by the way.
Yes.
Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Elliott. This is such a crazy show. I didn't even introduce you. I am sorry about
people
that.
Like,
who are these two people? We know it's Brad Show Live. It's Brad. But who are these guys over here? So hello and welcome back as well. Carol Anderson, the Tiger, and Patrina Collins. Groundhog Sam is in. I guess he or she. Ambidextrous groundhog.
We gotta find out what he is.
Ambidextrous means you can go right or left, but that's not the right word.
Ambiguous.
Ambiguous. Ambiguous. Thank you very much. Ambiguous Groundhog Sam. Ambiguous Groundhog Sam says hello. Dane Williams from Atlanta says hello. Cherry Taylor says she's watching from Texas. Nadisha Gooden says hello. Chin Carter. Stacey Ann Hodge. And Denisha John. And
Denisha John missed us, Brad.
we missed all of these people. All of them.
She hit up Tamika on Facebook this weekend and was like, and put on her wall, I saw it. I really miss my Brad squad.
And Jeff Bosey, Val Thomas. We missed everybody too. Okay, and on Spar and Bernstein Facebook page, Willie Williams, Christy Consali watching on both feeds. She's also, I guess, ambiguous, but not sexually. She just watches both, right? Right. Sam is ambiguous sexually.
Right. Yeah.
Christy, we're not calling out Christy. I gotta take that back. She just watches on both. All right. Lisa Blake Rose, Camille Taylor, Beverly Thompson, Willie Williams. Dane also watching on both. So we have a lot of people watching on both now.
Yeah.
Kennedy Roy and Terry Hall, Francisca Goldstein.
Sandra Thompson, that's a new name.
Yes.
That's a new
And hello to everybody else who I forgot or who I didn't see. Hello to you all. I hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend.
Hey.
It was unfortunate, at least here in New York. I don't know how it was in like Texas or Florida. I think Florida had some sort of tropical storm.
Yeah, Alberta.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was cold and rainy here in New York. It wasn't the nicest weekend, but relaxing nevertheless. It was one of those weekends, you know, like when you have those cold, rainy weekends. I know. For example, Yo-Yo was down in Washington with his family, so he didn't have one of those weekends.
Right.
I saw Belgium Kim on Instagram. I saw some
Where
of
were
your
you at?
posts there. You were out partying.
I
did the 1 o'clock snooze on the couch.
Oh,
That was my weekend. Do you ever get one of those like 2-hour snoozes on the couch and then you wake up at 3, 4 o'clock? You're like, oh, dinner's almost in an hour.
2 hours. That's not nearly enough.
That's
Right.
not nearly enough.
I'm a
but
3 to 4 hour
I did that
napper.
every day. I did that every day, so it was very relaxing.
That's
That's
glorious.
good.
Yeah, it was.
good.
I
Caught
needed
up on
that.
rest.
I needed that.
Were you at the beach?
I was not at the beach. I was on the couch sleeping.
The weather didn't allow that as
Yes.
well.
Tell us about your weekends, Belgium Kim and Yo-Yo, quickly.
I actually went to the African American Smithsonian Museum in DC for the first time, and it was amazing. I went with my family as well, so it was cool to experience that with my family. My little brother works for Obama, so he just likes that. There you go.
You get special tickets.
Yeah, like
VIP.
special. Yeah, absolutely.
I heard it was a very cool museum. I've not been to Washington in
Amazing.
about a decade.
You need at least 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours,
Yeah.
to get through like I think it's like 5
Is it
floors.
emotional or
It
educational?
was very emotional, like
Yeah.
especially
What was the
first
most
3
emotional part of it?
Seeing Emmett Till's actual casket.
Oh my God.
Original casket.
Oh.
That was
That is
it was in a room where and that's the only place in the whole museum that you cannot take pictures from
because-
what the family requested. Emmett
Right.
Till's family. But like that was the original casket of Emmett Till.
Is he inside the casket?
He is not. They actually
What'd
took
they
him
do?
out.
Really
They took him
weird.
out a couple years ago.
So
I
they
think.
dug him up?
Yeah, because
What?
for DNA, they had to do like
I see.
DNA and
I
stuff.
see.
So like they took the original casket
and then they put him in a newer
yeah,
casket. I assume.
yeah.
Right.
So it's crazy. No, it was beautiful though. Amazing experience.
So Belgium Kim, tell us about your educational, emotional experiences of a Memorial
With
Day
beer.
weekend. It was beer. It was beer and sand.
I did nothing.
Right?
I
You
did
did nothing.
exactly nothing. I left my house like 2 days mostly to brunch and go out. Like there was no value added to
I'm
my
sorry
weekends.
that I went
Yeah,
first. I
that
probably
was
should have went after.
yeah. You were
Yeah.
like it was really deep and emotional. I was like I watched like 8 movies. It was great. Sorry.
Relax. That's a relaxing weekend.
Oh, it
like,
was
so
amazing.
that's
It was
good.
amazing.
Let's
I needed it.
All right. So any event, we got to schmooze a little bit here before we
Yeah.
take our
Yeah.
telephone
Let's
calls.
do it.
And I do got to remind everybody to call right now 1-800-529-5465, and we will be taking your immigration calls in about 9 or 10 minutes from now. 1-800-529-5465. It has been a long weekend. We've been off since last Wednesday, so we haven't been around for 6 days. So nobody, I haven't asked of this for at least 6 days now. So what I'd like everybody to do right now is please share this with your friends and family. Let them know in about 9 or 10 minutes from now, I will be answering your immigration questions, their immigration questions, or your friends' immigration questions. Or you can call and say you're calling for a friend when we know it's you. However you want to do it, as long as everybody knows that we will be answering your immigration questions. And the best way to share, Jonathan and Belgium Kim.
All you have to do is look under the video Hey, can you see me?
No. And the best, there we go.
Look under the video and then you'll see a little arrow on the bottom right-hand corner. It's an arrow going to the right, and all you have to do is click it, share it. Share it to people's pages, different groups. Also, you can tag people. You could also invite people. There's a little plus sign on the top where it says invite. So invite friends to watch, invite your family, anybody, because you could be helping somebody in a very, serious crisis.
I just shared in the time that you said that.
Thank you very much. Who else is sharing?
That fast.
Who else is sharing?
It was that fast.
I saw, for example, like Stacey Ann Hodge. She was up to her eyeballs in housework and diapers, but still should be able to at least take 30 seconds out to share.
And she probably
Right.
did. No,
I hope she
Stacey
did.
Ann.
Yes, I hope
I
she
trust
did.
Stacey Ann.
It's not hard.
And Lisa Bling Roche says, I work overtime.
Yeah, she definitely does.
She works overtime,
does.
but she should also has
she
time to
still
share
shares.
as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman's working overtime and still sharing.
I think that's
so
what
there's
she meant.
nobody has any excuse.
She's working for us right now.
Right, that's right.
Tanky Lodo is watching from.
Okay, we do have Sam.
Oh well.
Let's do Sam again, because
yeah.
everybody
Give him a
wanted
fair
to see
shot.
Sam again.
Prior successful results do not guarantee similar outcomes.
Sam, what are you doing?
I'm just reading the disclaimer for today's show.
But the disclaimer is at the end of the show. You do the top of the show. Remember, you didn't want to read the disclaimer. Brad reads the disclaimer.
Oh.
Why don't you do what you always do? Tell everybody what aired on the show last Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, great. Good job. Thanks, Sam. You're the best.
Groundhog Sam! Hi, everybody! Welcome back from Memorial Day weekend. In case you missed Wednesday's episode of Brad Show Live, we had Sharon Farsagiani on. Sharon wrote a memoir titled Shaming My Red Lips about her experience being an Americanized teenager living in the United States until the age of 16 in Brooklyn, and then going back to Iran, where she lived until she was 23. Geez, that's a lot. That would be like me going back to Puxatawny now after I've been living in New York City. Oh, goodness, I couldn't imagine. Anyway, the book is being made into a feature film, and she's also created a perfume line called Desert 35, which is going to be available soon at Macy's, and is all part of her experience as an American Iranian woman. Go, Sharon! What's on today's show? Well, you'll just have to wait and see.
All right. So now Groundhog Sam is back working for us. I think it's funny.
Did he email you?
No, but what I saw was as soon as we read his segment, he started commenting. By the way, the Spar Bernstein page is leading the share game 28-16 right now.
Wow.
So Groundhog Sam is back in business.
Okay.
I guess he has taken back his resignation now that we have fixed that. And by the way, over the weekend, I did notice on our Facebook page, Denisha John did this little meme and said, Tamika Nelson, I'm missing my Brad squad. Let's see, we have that up there? There it is. So she was thinking about the Brad squad even over the Memorial Day weekend, which was really, really cute. Meanwhile, over Memorial Day weekend, our president, you understand what Memorial Day is about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody says it's a day off.
No. It's,
Okay, I mean it's a day off, obviously, and it's also the unofficial start of the summer.
Right.
But it's really to remember our fallen heroes, people who have given their life for our country, people who died in combat in all the different wars, from the Revolutionary War. We don't. I don't remember anybody. I'm not that old. From 200 years ago, but all the way up to the present. World War II veterans, people who got, Memorial Day, we're remembering.
Right.
Right? Okay. So Trump, generally, let's compare the Trump tweet to the Obama tweet. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Let's do the Obama tweet first.
Oh, Lord.
Okay? So our former President Obama.
Yes.
Okay, our former President Obama, okay, who your brother works for.
Yes.
Okay. And this is not why we're saying this. We're not, it's just, this is the facts. Okay. He tweeted on Memorial Day, which was a very lovely tweet he wrote. And this is what he wrote. We can never truly repay the debt we owe our fallen heroes, but we can remember them, honor their sacrifice, and affirm in our lives those enduring ideals of justice, equality, and opportunity for which generations of Americans have given
that last full measure of devotion. Very nice tweet.
Very nice.
Okay, saying that he's going to remember our fallen soldiers. They gave their life. We owe them a debt of gratitude, and we should all, at least for a second, think about what they've done. And then those who have been actually touched by, family members or friends who actually died in service of the United States of America. Obviously, it's a more sullen day for them as well. But everybody should remember, at least for a second, even those who haven't been touched by somebody in the military who died.
Right.
Now, President Trump. Okay, this is the guy who got 6 deferments during Vietnam War because he had bunions.
Of course.
Some sort of foot problem.
Ugh.
So he got deferred from being drafted for the Vietnam War. Totally skipped out on the U.S. military. This is his tweet.
Oh, God.
For Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Those who died for our great country would be very happy and proud to know we're all doing well. The best economy in decades, lowest unemployment numbers for blacks and Hispanics ever, rebuilding our military and so much more. Nice.
That is trifling.
That is, how are you going to spew lies in your Memorial Day tweet? How are you able to fit in lies?
I mean, maybe the economy is doing well. I don't know. But how tone deaf?
Right.
How tone deaf? Now, retired General Michael Hayden, he's the former head of the CIA, a national security agency, and a former general of the United States military. He tweeted to Donald Trump, "This is the most inappropriate Memorial Day comment that a president of the United States has ever made. Self-promotion on a day to remember the fallen and wishing those remembering their deceased loved ones a happy holiday is appalling."
Right.
Hashtag Cadet Bone Spurs. I said it was bunions. It was bone spurs. Okay. Tweeted the veteran group's vets. How tone deaf.
That's
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
So meanwhile, there's about 1,500 children. Did you see this? There's about 1,500 children who are now unaccounted for. When children come to the United States alone without family, they're generally not put in detention. They're paroled into the United States for deportation, given to a family. And, this is when SIJ comes into, we talk about SIJ all the time, Special Juvenile Immigrants. And if you can demonstrate, a good immigration attorney can demonstrate before a judge that it's not in the child's best interest to return to their home country because of abandonment, physical abuse, then at that point, they can self-apply for a green card, which is why unaccompanied children come to America so often. They try to do that. So what happens is that they get put into some sort of foster care system to be placed with a family. Now, in the year 2018, over 7,500 children were placed with foster families, except 1,500 are now missing.
Wow.
Nobody knows where. Nobody knows where they are. So what happened is that apparently the Department of Homeland Security calls up the families that these children are living with and says, "Hey, how are the kids doing? What's going on?" And 1,500 of the 7,500 children, American families that they were placed with, have not returned the Department of Homeland Security's call. So it could be that that either their phone doesn't work,
right,
or they truly are missing, or the kids went off. Who knows? But we don't know for sure. We don't know, but there's 1,475 migrant children that the Department of Health and Human Services, through ICE, put with sponsors in the United States or their relatives, mostly from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. They were fleeing drug cartels, gang violence, domestic abuse, and officials began making the calls to determine what happened to these children that the government placed between October of 2017 to April of this year. And from those calls, the officials learned that 6,000 children are still with their sponsors. 28 children ran away. 5 got deported from the United States. Right. 52 others got relocated, but 1,475 are now missing.
Crazy amount.
And they don't have to do any further checkup than just, hey, how's the kid doing?
I don't know. I would think, this is Department of Health and Human Services. This is different than ICE.
Right.
So, eventually these children have to show up to a deportation hearing and apply for SIJ through this family member or sponsor who is presumably becoming their legal guardian. But we don't know what happened to them.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, while 1,475 children are missing, Ivanka Trump is is giving out on Instagram pictures of her with her 2-year-old.
Oh.
It was very nice. She
Family
wrote,
tone deaf people.
yes, another tone deaf. My Sunday morning, the mother of 3 captioned, in we have a photo, I believe. Where's the photo? We have a photo? No, we don't have a photo. Okay. Well, she put a picture. I'll describe it because I saw the Instagram. Oh, we have, there it is. Okay.
Oh,
So
that's a
there
nice
she
picture.
is. There she is, with snuggling with her 2-year-old.
Oh my God.
And again, Trump's being absolutely tone deaf on the same day that the Trump administration said they lost 1,500 children. Have no idea where they are.
Right.
But I have
Okay.
mine.
Right, and that's really all that
and
matters.
Twitter had a bit of a field day with Ivanka. Pat and Oswald wrote, "Isn't it just the best to snuggle your little one, knowing exactly where they are, safe in your arms? It's the best, right?" Ivanka, and then another person, Paola Mendoza, wrote, "You are lucky to hold your son while 1,500 mothers cannot because your father ripped their children away under a vicious policy that he created." And then finally, John Legum wrote, "How would your Sunday be if the federal government ripped this child from your arms and put him in a detention facility?"
Man.
So that's what's happening in the United
Yikes.
States. Oh, I didn't see what happened on MSNBC. Where's MSNBC? I don't have that card on MSNBC.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
okay, somebody from MSNBC tweeted about it. Says you'd almost never know her father's administration, to which he's an advisor, was brutally separating migrant children from their asylum-seeking parents and lost track of 1,500 of them. And that was Joy Reid from MSNBC
Wow.
on Twitter. Meanwhile, while the United States is losing children, okay, a young Malian, I guess you would call it Malian.
Someone from Mali?
Someone from Mali. Is
Yes.
are they called a Malian?
I don't know what they would be called.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, I thought maybe you would know.
Someone from
Jonathan.
Mali?
A Malian. Okay, here he
I
is
know
right
about
here.
this story,
You
though.
know about this story.
I love
Mamadou
it.
Gassama.
Yes.
He was an illegal alien in Paris.
Yes.
From Mali, 22 years old, and there was a child dangling from the 4th story of a building about to fall.
Yeah.
About to fall and die. And he went up like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, climbed up 4 stories on the outside of the building, risked his life to save the French little boy who was dangling. Now, why was this boy dangling? I have no idea.
Yeah, because I saw someone on the side.
Yeah,
too,
I don't
like,
know why.
Yeah,
this,
but like in their- in the
I'm not
next
exactly
apartment
sure
over.
why
Oh, that was
this.
the next
I'm
apartment.
not exactly sure why the boy was dangling, and I don't know how anybody would be able to scale a 4-story building.
At all.
How is that even possible? But he did it.
And he does it
So
with ease.
fast, too.
Yeah.
He did it.
like,
You're right.
The way he does it.
Maybe he's a mountain climber in Mali. I don't know.
He's been training
He's
for
been training. I don't
Ninja
know.
Warrior for the last 3
That's
years.
that natural.
Yeah, now
athleticism.
speaking to CNN, Gassama said he had been in the neighborhood to watch a football match in a local restaurant. When he saw the commotion, he said, "I like children. I would have hated to see him getting hurt in front of me. I ran and looked for solutions to save him, and thank God I scaled the front of the building to the balcony." Okay, so here's what happened with why the child was out on the balcony to begin with. The child's father was out shopping when the incident occurred. He's being investigated for abandoning his parental responsibilities. It was a 4-year-old child. So as a result of this, and this has gone viral around the world, as a result of this, he is now becoming a French citizen.
Yep.
Okay. So much for kick these people out of the country.
Right.
I mean, if anything ever said, if there was ever a story to say, you know what, there's good people and bad people everywhere. You can't really, clump everybody. There's bad Americans too.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of bad Americans.
Right.
Okay. You can't clump everybody together. Here, this guy didn't have to do anything. Okay, so as a result, he is now going to become a French citizen. So
Do you
congratulations.
think that if this happened in the United States, Donald Trump would have given him citizenship for being a hero?
Well, I don't know, but I think Donald Trump's wall would have to be like 10,000 feet because this guy's gonna climb up. This guy's gonna scale it anyway.
Right.
So I don't think any wall's gonna stop this guy from coming into the United States of America, which is all we've been saying this entire time.
Point number 3,882 against a wall.
All right. So lastly, before we get to all our immigration calls, we're running a little late, but we started our show a little late. Before we get to our, I was happy to see that Rudy Giuliani, he is the former mayor of New York City, two-time mayor of New York City. He was the mayor during 9/11. He's been married 3 times. Was a big fan of immigrants while he was the mayor of New York. Interestingly, he was very, very pro-immigrant. Okay, while he represented the city of New York. Since then, he has become one of the most bigoted people in the entire nation,
Because he's
and is now representing Donald Trump in his Russian investigation. So Mayor Giuliani, he's a Yankee fan. He went to the Yankee game, and what do you think happened this weekend?
Got booed.
He got booed, is right. The boo. They put his picture up on the big jumbotron, and it was the biggest boos of the day. All right, it was more boos than when anything bad happened to the Yankees on the field. Mayor Giuliani, he was heckled almost out of the stadium there.
That's pretty damn funny, though.
Yeah. So I enjoyed. They gave him what's called the Bronx cheer, right? You ever hear that? The Bronx cheer. That is right.
I like it.
Yeah. And by the way, if you get some postcards from Belgium Kim over the next couple of weeks, the Postal Service I saw has added scratch and sniff stamps. Why? I have no idea. It sounds pretty disgusting, but I really don't want my mail. I really don't want my mail to smell.
Really? Like summer?
No, I don't want it to smell.
I mean, it won't smell unless you scratch it.
Why would you want to have your mail smell?
Look,
but they say it's going to smell like kiwi or orange or chocolate. But my thinking is, after it's gone through the 10 mail rooms, 2 United States Postal Service trucks. Have you ever seen the inside of those trucks? They're not the cleanest in the world.
They're not.
I think it's going to smell like rotten oranges and rotten kiwis. I don't think it's going to be a good smelling thing, and I'm not exactly sure why they're doing it. You want to try it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then this I love this story, and I got to get this card out of my system already. Okay, in China, in China, this is the moment. Okay, this couple, they bought a dog, and they love their dog. Okay, the couple was the guy who bought it was Su Yan. He bought it for his whole family. It was a little puppy 2 years ago. Look at this cute little dog. Okay, but they were surprised that the dog ate a lot of food and would eat boxes and boxes of berries. What kind of dog eats berries?
Yeah, they thought it was a Tibetan Mastiff.
Right, this dog. So it turned, and then all of a sudden, when it turned 2 years old, it started becoming a little ferocious, standing up on its 2 legs and walking like this.
What?
And they brought it to the vet. They said, "What's wrong with my dog? It's up on 2 legs." And it turned out they bought a bear.
What?
They bought a bear, and it was not a dog. And the person who sold it to them basically gave a baby bear a poodle haircut. They gave the baby bear a poodle haircut and sold poor Su Yan and his family
a freaking
bear. Can you imagine? You come home and because they made the bear into a dog, they gave it like a little poodle haircut.
Not that it was getting ferocious. It was standing on 2 legs.
Yeah. Now Miss Yun, who apparently needs to go to an ophthalmologist. Okay, she has eye troubles apparently. Says, the more he grew, the more he kind of looked like a bear to me. And I'm scared of bears. I mean,
this is the bear.
This is the actual bear that's the size of the bear when it becomes bigger. So,
that's insane.
Yes.
He was eating 200 pounds of food a day.
I think if your puppy is eating 200 pounds of food, I think that's a pretty good. That is a pretty good.
I think that's a given.
Something
it's a
insane
bear.
like that. I find this story so
by the way, she's getting her driver's license revoked because apparently she can't see at all.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's crazy.
See,
it's terrible. She's blind. They sold a woman who was almost blind a bear.
Right. Like, have you seen the claws on a dog versus a bear? Like, no.
Yeah,
now, to be all fair, we are in favor of animal rights here. The bear apparently has been taken to the Yunnan Wildlife Rescue Center and given a new haircut to look like a bear. Okay, so the Wildlife Center gave a new haircut. Now there's no question, it's a bear.
Oh my gosh.
It's a bear. See, like what I wanted to do once is, when I had a full head of hair, I wanted to get a mohawk.
Okay.
Change my do. Get a mohawk and some tattoos and look tough.
Okay.
And my friend said, "It's not going to work, Brad. I'm sorry. Just stay being the Jewish lawyer."
If you could change a
Yeah,
bear
so I
into
mean,
a
like, if you
dog,
could make a
know?
bear into a dog, maybe I could do the mohawk
Maybe
with
you
some
could've-
tattoos,
You
right?
shouldn't
I should have tried it. I should have tried it.
It's
right.
never too late, Brad.
And then walk into a bar and start fights with people,
There you
right? And then
go.
people see him back down.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you want to be in a biker gang?
Yes, me. I was
Is
thinking
that what
about
you're
it for a
saying?
while.
Tight leather pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad's gonna come in rocking chaps tomorrow.
Right.
By the way, just because the story goes with the other story, we're going to get to all your immigration questions in a second. Apparently, in Argentina, they're selling ferrets as toy poodles also. So this is happening. This apparently is
an
happening around the
epidemic.
world. In an Argentinian bazaar, I'm just reading this now. In an Argentinian bazaar,
look like
a
them.
salesman is passing off ferrets on steroids as toy poodles, and people are buying them.
Oh my
A
God.
local news report out of Buenos Aires is making international waves after a man took the toy poodle he bought to the market, to the La Salada market, to a veterinarian, only to find out he bought a giant weasel.
That is
He then went
trifling.
back to the seller and said, "You're the weasel, pal,
right.
for selling me a weasel." And
Wait, he was still there?
He was still there. Argentinians are calling this the Brazilian rat story. And a ferret given steroids at birth to increase its size and then is groomed to look like a poodle. And the victim
Trifling.
paid $150 for his rat and thought he was getting a poodle.
$150.
Yes. So buyer beware. Okay, you really got to
insane.
expect. It's more than the haircut.
Yeah.
It's more than the haircut.
Do you not have to take him to the vet for like shots and stuff? I don't get it. Like,
I don't know. I don't know how. Like, are you blind?
That too?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Go get your eyes checked.
So now whenever you go get a pet, you have to be like, is it a bear? Is it a ferret? Could it be any other? Are you trying to sell me a
possum.
raccoon? Right,
Right, like,
exactly.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You get like a, not a raccoon. What's the groundhog? What's the animal that sprays you in the face with
A
its tail?
skunk?
A skunk.
A
Yeah.
skunk,
Right. Yeah,
right.
like a skunk could
Look at
pass
this beautiful
as a
cat.
dog also. Right.
Yeah.
Just dye it all black, you know?
All right. So in any event, we got to get to immigration right now. We got a really good show later on because we got some serious stuff going on later.
Yeah.
Okay, and we are very sorry that we ran a little late, but maybe we'll run a little. We started a little late. Maybe we'll run a little late. So we'll get everybody in. We'll get everything in right now. We are Tuesday after Memorial Day. Please share this with your friends and family. We are now going to get into the time of the show when I'm going to be answering your immigration questions. And if you are man enough or woman enough to give us a call, I will be man enough to answer your question as honestly as I can in what we call getting answers to your immigration questions. You will be calling us right now at 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. And if you don't have the gumption to give us a call to throw your dirty laundry out to the entire world, you can always leave a message in our Facebook feed on Bradshaw Live or Law Offices of Spar and Bernstein. Tell Kim or Jonathan that you're asking for a friend, and they will be more than happy to ask me your questions in about 20 minutes or so. The telephone number to call right now, 1-800-529-5465. And of course, please share this. Share. I don't know where we are with the sharing, but if Groundhog Sam could let us know who's winning in the sharing battle. Who is winning right now?
Brad Squad is.
Is Brad's? Well, it's always the Brad
Bradshaw
Squad on
Live.
both sides. Bradshaw Live came ahead. What?
We're at 128 to 34.
Oh, that's so
That's
sad.
Pretty
pathetic.
bad.
Lisa Bling Rose.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're going down with the ship. Okay, but can you get your group to start sharing, Lisa? Dawn Harriet, get your group to start sharing. Omar Dawson, I know you're asking a question, but please share this with your friends and family. Don't make me call out everyone, Beverly Thompson.
Yeah.
All right? Don't make me do it, Elizabeth. Elizabeth. Monica Stone saying hello. She can say hello, but she can also share. Okay. Terry Hall, hi. Yeah, please share also. Terry Hall. Shio Doman, hi. Please share. Shio. I'm gonna start calling out every person.
Yeah.
All right. We gotta make at least a fair showing.
Seriously,
Yeah,
At least a fair showing.
Malia Loban Martin by herself has shared to over 60 groups.
She is awesome.
Wow.
All by
She is awesome.
herself.
She is awesome. She
She's
should
beat
be
Barbara
like
Steele.
working for us here,
Right.
sharing for 60 people. All right, let's go to Andre from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Andre.
Hi, good evening. How are you, Brad?
How are you?
I'm good. So I have a question. I'm a green card holder through marriage, right?
Yes.
And I got 2 kids back home from my previous marriage in Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
They are coming here in the summer. Is it possible for me to put their application in while they're here?
Okay, so they're coming on visitors visas, correct?
Correct.
And how old?
They've been coming.
how
They've
old
been
are they?
coming for a few years now, back and forth. One is 10 and 8.
10 and 8. And you're married to your spouse still? Everything's cool with the two of you?
Yes.
Okay. So when they come, they have to come for the purpose of visiting. Okay? So if
they are.
Okay,
They are.
just listen. Okay? Because you got to read between the lines, okay? You can't come and say, I'm going to go file for them, or you're going to stay here. Because if they come with the knowledge that they're coming to stay here, that's misrepresentation, okay? Even for a 10-year-old, even though a 10-year-old can't be responsible for that, they don't need to deal with this at the airport. When they come to visit. Now, 90 days later, they're visiting here, and you get permission from the mother back home to say they can stay, go put them in school here. Your wife, who's the stepmother, can put in an adjustment application for each of them, but only 90 days after they came.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And,
All
we,
right.
and we
Thank
can
you very
help.
much.
We can help you. Hold on. Let's go to Marie in the Bronx, New York. Marie.
Hello.
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Brad. How you doing?
Wonderful. How you doing?
Glad to have you back. I'm doing fine.
Great. I'm glad to be back. It was actually. I felt kind of empty not doing this for several days. I had nothing to do with it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, right? I miss the show so much.
Oh, thank you. What can I do to help you?
Yes, I have a friend in Jamaica. She tried to call you, but her credit run out because it is so expensive to stay in the line. She used $1,000 and all $1,000 was finished.
Oh my gosh. You know what? And by the way, Marie, what you can do is if you're calling from Jamaica or you're calling and it's an international call and it's expensive, what you can do is you can call the show and ask the young lady who answers the phone to call you back when we're ready to get you on the phone. That way you don't have to stay on hold for 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
In the future
thank
for
you.
everybody else around the world. Okay. Marie, what is the question for your friend?
Yes, her father, her grandmother filed for her father and her when she was about 15 years old. But what has happened when she became 21, she did not go in because she became 21, so she did not go in. She got papers from the immigration, but she did not turn up on the interview because she said she was 21.
Right.
So she wants to know if that is still valid.
How old is she now?
She's going to be 33 this year.
All right. So when did Grandma originally file for the father? Do you know?
Yes, they got through in 2008 August.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, that's no longer valid. But the dad can turn around and file for her now. Has that been happened?
Okay.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that case is way too gone right now.
Way too far now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Unfortunately. All right, but Dad should turn around and file for her, or she could have a consultation with me and we can figure out something else. She may even be 245I if she ends up coming here and overstaying her time. Not that I'm telling anyone to overstay their time.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right. Let's go to Lisa in Latham, New York. Lisa.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good. My question, I think, is pretty normal or repetitive. So U.S. citizen marrying somebody from Jamaica, they're already here, though. How do they go about getting their green card? And
how long have they been here in the United States?
5, since they were 5.
Since they were 5 years old?
Yeah. Something got messed up along the way where they never got their paperwork to their parents like they were supposed to. So their temporary visa had expired and everything, and they had just stayed here the whole time.
And how old are they now?
29.
Okay. Did they get DACA?
Did they get what?
DACA. Deferred Action, the Obama program?
No.
No. Okay. They never knew about it, or never tried, or it
Never knew about it.
Okay.
I don't think they knew about it.
All right, but they came here on a visa.
A temporary one, as far as I know.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
As long as they have proof that they came here on a visa and they marry an American citizen, and you can prove it's a real marriage. And what a real marriage is you both live together and you share an economic relationship. You live together and share the economic relationship, the assets of the marriage and the debts of the marriage. You share it, you combine it. You file an adjustment application. The adjustment application is an I-485, an I-130, I-130A, the I-864 affidavit of support, I-765 for your work permit, I-131 for the advanced parole. You file all of that with immigration. The filing fee is $1,760. And you should get an interview for your green card in about 9 to 10 months. Along the way, you'll get fingerprinted and get a work permit and travel permission. At that interview, they want to make sure that you're not inadmissible to the United States, meaning you don't have any criminal records or poor moral character, that your spouse can support you 125% above the poverty level, that you're in a real marriage, meaning you're living together and sharing an economic relationship. And you'll be questioned about all of that. But certainly, it's the process to go through, and this person who's been out of status since for 24 of their 29 years of life will become legal the moment those applications get filed.
Okay.
All right? And we can help. So hold on 1 second. We can help. All right, let's go to Sandy in Bronx. Sandy. Knock, knock. Knock, knock.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you, Sandy? It worked, the knock, knock. I knew it was going to work. Yes. Sandy, what can I do to help you?
Okay, Sam. I am talking to this guy right now.
Yeah.
We've been together for like 6 months.
I like this.
He's a U.S. citizen. But 3 years ago, hello?
Yeah, but there's always a but. Talking to this guy, but. Here's the but. Here's the
3
but.
years ago, he got married, and his marriage, when he went to the immigration interview, they gave him a red flag and said the marriage was fraudulent. Now, 3 years later now, he wants to get married to me. So I wanted to find out what's the procedure and if this is something that will work out.
Well, if in fact he went on a marriage interview 3 years ago, and it was a fraudulent marriage, and immigration said it was a fraudulent marriage, he will never get a green card for the rest of his life, whether you guys are Romeo and Juliet or something less than Romeo and Juliet. Okay? So the first question we got to answer is what happened on that first interview? And the way to deal with that is do what's called the Freedom of Information Act request. Now, if he was a fraudulent marriage, we can't help him anyway. You can't, if you file a fraudulent marriage, then it's done. I understand. I understand. Now, there's a difference. Now, just hear me out. There is a difference between immigration saying, you are in a fraudulent marriage, we have evidence of this, versus immigration saying, you haven't proven to us that this is a real marriage, we don't know what this is. Now, most of the time, when your applications for marriage cases get denied, they're denied because immigration says, we don't know what this is. We don't know if this is real, this is fraud. The burden's on you to prove this is real. You haven't proven it to us. Versus immigration says, we got the goods on you. Fraud, you're never getting a green card again. Those are two different things. So that's why we would need to go get his records to see, was it the first scenario, which is, well, they didn't know what the hell was going on with this marriage. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. Or it's, we got the goods on you. This is absolutely fraud, and you got a problem. So that's the first thing we need to do before you move forward. Now, from your standpoint, okay, I'm always concerned when I hear I'm talking to this guy, okay, because talking to this guy can mean a lot of things. If you are in a relationship with this guy and you're in love with him,
we're in a relationship.
Then that's fine. But I think the first step we would have to do is double check to see what happened on that first interview, because what he thinks happened and what really happened is probably two different things.
So it might pose a problem for me then.
No, it doesn't cause a problem for you. It would only cause a problem for you that you file papers for your husband and he gets deported, and then you don't get to live with him for the rest of your life.
No, what I'm saying, he in the past with somebody else.
I understand that. I understand that. But you have nothing bad happens to you other than you don't get to live with your husband. Now that may be a bad thing for you. You know, you love the guy, you want to live with him. But you haven't done anything wrong by falling in love with this man and living with him. He did something wrong in the past, maybe. We would have to look and see. But nothing on you. You understand?
So don't wait the 2 years. What should I do? I don't know.
Come see me. That's what you should do. Hold on. You're in the Bronx. Come see me. Let's go to Bob in Roosevelt, New York. Bob.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing, sir?
How are you?
Pretty good. I have a quick question. A relative of mine, in haste, went to a funeral in Jamaica. In his haste, he took his expired green card. He's a current permanent resident in good standings. Will he have an issue coming back to New York City?
Yes, he will, because they won't even let him on the plane with the expired green card. So he won't even make it to New York City. He won't make it out of Jamaica. So he needs to go to the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, tell them the problem, and they'll give him a temporary stamp in his passport to get on a plane to come back.
Okay.
All right?
Yes, okay. All right, thank you.
And if he has a problem, have him call us from Kingston. All right. Let's go to, by the way, we're going to be answering your immigration questions here at 1-800-529-5465 for about another 5 minutes or so. I only have one more person on hold, so if you do have immigration questions, give us a call right now at 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Sanjay in Englewood, New Jersey. Sanjay.
Yeah, hi. I had a quick question. I have a brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been here he came here in 2016 on a B2 visa, and there's an employer that wants to hire him. The employer basically wants to sponsor him, I think is what he said. And I'm not sure how that works, but
where's your brother?
He explained to me in the United States.
He's in the United States right now. And where's he from?
Yeah. He's from Jamaica.
He's from Jamaica. And what kind of work is he doing?
The employer is he owns a painting company.
All right. So, but what does he do for the painting company? He's a painter?
I guess the whole 9 yards. Painting, spackling,
all right, so
repairs,
basically, so basically a painter, a contractor, a construction worker, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So he can be sponsored. We have to figure out exactly what his job duties entail, and then we would have to run an advertising for that position, for an American worker for that position. Now, assuming nobody applies for the job, and the employer can afford to pay his salary, he would be eligible for his green card. It's about you not taking a job or your brother not taking a job away from an American worker. There's a process to go through. It's called a PERM application and then an I-140 visa petition. You absolutely need a lawyer to help you, and then that lawyer can explain to the employer what his or her requirements would be. The $1 million question, and it doesn't cost $1 million, but the $1 million question is, at the end of the case, once you become eligible for your green card, and the whole process is approximately 18 months, where do you go for your green card? Meaning, if you've come to the United States and overstayed your time, can you adjust your status?
That's what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you adjust your status here? If not, can you go back to Jamaica and not have a 10-year bar? And that would require a consultation to see if you're eligible for a provisional waiver or something called 245I. So I think the first step for your brother is have a consultation, and then we'll figure it out from there. All right.
Okay.
So hold on 1 second. All right. Let's go to Charles in Fort Worth, Texas. Charles.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine.
What can I do to
Can
help
I
you?
ask my question?
Yes. That's why I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I have a sister who was married and the husband abandoned her for 3 years and gone back to Africa.
You have a sister, her husband abandoned her and sent her back to Africa?
No, the sister is still here.
And the husband went back to Africa?
Yeah, I have a sister. who came to the United States.
Uh-huh. I'm listening.
So that sister is still here now, and
all I know,
No, she's still here.
all I know so far is you have a sister and she's in the United States. What happened to the sister?
now she wants to move forward with her life, but she cannot because she's still married with the husband.
Oh, in
and
Africa.
The husband has abandoned her.
Got it.
Gone to Africa,
so
but she is here.
she can get a divorce in America.
She cannot. They told her she has to go to Africa to do the divorce.
No, that's crazy. Where is she? Where is she? What state is she in? What state is she in? Charles, you with me? You can get a divorce in America. In New York, for example, even if you were, I don't know what state she's in. If maybe she's in Texas or New York. I can tell you, for example, in New York. I can tell you, for example, in New York, that if you are living in the state of New York for 2 years, even if the marriage happened in another country, even if your spouse never stepped 1 foot in America, you can get a divorce here in New York. You don't need to go back to Africa to do the divorce. Okay, so Charles needs to at least have a consultation with us, and even if the sister's in another state, maybe we can find a divorce attorney in that particular state to help her. Let's go to Nicolette in Miramar, Florida. Nicolette.
Hi, Mr. Bernstein.
How are you?
Question for you. I'm fine, thank you.
Yes.
How long does it take now to get an interview with the immigration?
For what?
When your husband filed for you.
What state are you in? Florida?
Florida.
You know what? It used to take 6-7 months. Now I'm told 9-10 months. I've heard some people waiting a year. If it's over a year, obviously there's an issue with your case. But it should be 9 months, maybe a year at the most.
Okay.
Okay?
So what can you do if it's over here?
Get involved and see where it's screwed up and then take it from there. I don't know. But we'll fix whatever the problem is.
Okay.
Okay? So if it's over a year, hold on 1 second, okay? All right. So, we're done with our calling section.
Is it finally our turn?
It is finally Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias' turn to earn their salary. In something we call social media check-in, where they are going to be asking questions that you asked in our comment section on law offices of Spar and Bernstein and on Brad Show Live, and I hopefully will have the answers for your
You
birdie.
will.
I
You always do.
hopefully will have your questions.
All right.
Your answers. I don't have questions to your.
Sometimes
Sometimes I do have questions to your questions.
Right.
I hope I have answers to your
I
questions.
hope you don't have any questions to our questions.
And by the way,
You'll never
before
know.
we start, this is the time that we help people.
Yes.
And as much as we joke around and have fun here, we're really helping people. So if you're like us, who want to help as many people, and that's really what our goal is here. I mean, we give our time up every day, 2 hours to come here and help as many people as we can. True humanitarians, if I'm patting myself on the back, and which I will. And so, but in all seriousness, let your friends know, let your family know this is the time where you're getting really good information, true advice, true answers to your problems. Not everybody's problem can be solved, but sometimes it's good to know I got a problem that can't be solved. Or sometimes it's good to know, you know what, this problem is so rough, I need a lawyer. Sometimes I just give you the answer. Let's see. But please share this with your friends and family. I know Brad Show Live was winning the share battle over law offices of Spar and Bernstein. I don't know if the law offices of Spar and Bernstein page will ever win over the Brad Show Live. I'm concerned that Spar and Bernstein will never win. But please share this with your friends and family and let them know at this very moment I'm answering all questions from our social media feed. Belgium Kim, Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, what do you got?
All right, I have one from Chin Carter. My friend is a green card holder for 4 years. His girlfriend lives in the UK, but she's here now on a visa, and now he wants to get married to her. So this friend wants to know if she can actually go back to the UK while the husband stays here and does the paperwork. How does he go about doing that, and how long will it take? Her visa is still in status.
She can go back to the UK, but she's going to wait back in the UK for about a year and 2 months, a year and 3 months, get married, and then the husband can file an I-130 visa petition for her. Eventually, that I-130 will be approved. They do the DS-230, which used to be called the Packet 3, the affidavits of support, and eventually everything gets transferred to London for a visa interview. But you're looking at about a year and 2 months back in London. You're not going to be able to travel back in the United States while you do that. Perhaps you would want a consultation so you have all the options.
Kenisha says, how long after you're in the U.S. on a visitor's visa can you go ahead and put in for an adjustment of visa?
90 days.
All right. Marjorie Thompson says, my friend is asking, is there a way to get the number from his lost citizenship paper, or is there a website he can check?
Yeah, it's called the Freedom of Information Act request, and you can request a copy of your immigration records, or you could request a specific copy, a specific page in your immigration records, and if you do that, it would actually be a faster process.
Nimat says, my utmost dream in life is to have my American citizenship. I've had my green card before, and they took it away because I overstayed in Lebanon. Is there anything you can do to help me?
Yeah, I mean, now this is the reverse, overstaying on your permanent resident status out of the country. So he stayed in Lebanon for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. There's something called an SB1 visa. The SB1 visa is where you go into the U.S. Embassy and say, not my fault. Let me tell you why I spent more than a year out of the country, and let me tell you about all the ties I have in the United States. For example, I still have a home, still have my family. I had a long life in America. You know, what ties do you have to America versus why you had to stay in Lebanon? And then if you have compelling reasons why you had to stay in Lebanon and you can show ties to the United States, it's very possible the U.S. Embassy in Beirut will give you what's called an SB1 visa to let you return to the United States to enter as a lawful permanent resident. If they don't, you can always try to apply for a visitor's visa. If they don't, you can always try to apply for a new green card through some new process. So, you know, the first step is let's have the consultation and see, you know, what the options are for you.
All right, Willie L. Williams says, hey, Brad, asking for a friend.
Yes.
Not me.
Yes.
Really.
Not him.
He said not me.
Yes.
Really.
Right. I'm asking for a friend. His name is Yadavid Yo-Yo Elias.
This ain't me, but he specifically said, not me, really.
Right, really. But so by being emphatic, he really wants us to believe it's really not for him.
It's really not for him.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so his friend and his wife are married and just wants to file the I-130 before his wife's 1 year of being undocumented here. What's the benefit of doing this?
What's the benefit of doing what?
Of just doing the I-130.
You're on a waiting list for a green card. The spouse is a permanent resident?
Doesn't say. Just says. It says that they want to file the I-130 before his wife's 1 year of being undocumented here.
There's no benefit to that. File it as quickly as possible because you want your wife to get a green card. The filing does not. You know, I understand what they're asking because if you leave the country and you've been out of status for more than a year, you're barred for 10 years, but you filing the I-130 visa petition doesn't prevent that clock from stopping.
Nicolette says, how long does it take nowadays to get your interview?
I think that was the person who called from Florida. We said somewhere between 9 to 12 months.
It is, right? Because I even asked her the follow-up of, well, what are you getting filed for? I'll give you another one that you haven't answered then. Christopher said, can a U.S. citizen wife file for her husband's children without those children having to do any kind of DNA testing?
The wife?
Yeah, can a U.S. citizen wife file for her husband's children?
It would be the step. No, you would have to still prove that you are the father's the biological father of those children. Other than that, there's no relationship.
All right, Sugar Apple.
Sugar Apple, that's a new one.
I like
that. Sugar Apple.
Sugar Apple.
You like to take a bite out of Sugar Apple, right?
And then how you spell it is S-U-G-A-H. That's sugar.
That's all sugar. That's all sugar.
That's southern.
That's all sugar.
That's sweet sugar. All right. So asking for another friend. sugar apples and
asking for Willie. I'll be kidding.
All right, so a friend of mine came to the United States at the age of 13, in which her mom was a citizen. She's now here in her 40s, so I guess the question is, and that's where it ended. So I need to find.
So if the daughter's over 21 to file for the mother, is that what they're asking? The daughter was born here.
Yeah, let's say that's what it was.
As long as the mother made a legal entry and the daughter was born here, you can absolutely file an adjustment of status.
There we go.
There we go.
We've got another question from Sharnia, who says, how can a U.S. citizen go about adopting 2 kids who are 14 and 11 whose parents passed away just a few months ago, and we don't know where the children are?
Well, it depends where they are. If they're here in the United States, you would go start an adoption here. If they're in another country, you would then need to file an orphan petition. And the first step would be to do a pre-adoption here in the United States before you do anything in that particular country. Also, you got to get permission from, obviously, the state has taken over. Somebody is watching these children. So you would need permission from whatever country that you are adopting these children from for permission to bring the children to America. But you don't do the adoption in that country. You bring the children to America on an orphan petition, which is an I-600 application, and you do the adoption here. But before you do that, you got to do a pre-adoption. So come in or give us a call, and we'll figure out the process for you. Well, I know the process. We'll figure out the best process for you to get them here.
All right, I have one from Ishibunisha Kelly.
By the way, before we start that, I saw Groundhog Sam just gave the newest numbers.
The update?
Okay.
The update. It was like 250 something to 90 something, I believe. Was that the number I saw? I just saw it flash across the screen while I was answering.
Well, that's
so it's
over
hard
300.
for me to read, the comments and at the same time.
Was that it, Groundhog Sam?
Was that it, Groundhog?
No, 209 to 52. I just
209 to
found it.
52.
209.
Oh, gosh.
To 52.
Well, bravo, Bradshaw Live.
I think we can call it.
Bravo. Bravo.
That's a killer right there.
I don't have a lot to say about Spar and Bernstein right now, but hopefully we'll give them a bravo by the end of the show. Maybe at least Spar and Bernstein can get to 100.
I think they could still do that. If
All
they
right.
get to 100, I think that's good.
Yes. All right. Let's continue.
All right, Ishibunisha Kelly. I have a friend, and she got locked up for some months for fraud. She was a crew member. Now, what can she do to get her visitor's visa?
What happened with the fraud?
She got locked up.
Well, I don't know how she got locked up for fraud. Where? About what?
Just says that she was a crew member.
And got locked up for fraud?
Yes.
And where's she now?
Doesn't say.
Then I need to know a lot more information than that.
Okay, Ishibunisha Kelly.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit more.
By the way, Lisa Bling Rose says, Brad, you have to remember the Spar and Bernstein's original page, so a lot of people know that page. So we're riding with this page. They're riding with it. She's not budging.
Yeah, but she shouldn't budge.
They just need to share more.
But the fact that they're the original page means that hypothetically they should be beating the other page.
Correct, and they're not. All right, we got a lot more?
We have like 5 more.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. We've got a question from Sharon, who said, I'm asking for a friend. He overstayed his visa, got into a fight with an old buddy of his, and his friend called the police on him. He was locked up for a week, and then he got out. A couple months afterwards, that same old friend called ICE. And so now now he is in an ICE detention center. What's going to happen to him?
Well, hopefully he has some relief from deportation, but, he had this pretty bad friend and a pretty bad guy. I would need to know a lot more about what his situation is here in the United States.
Okay, I have one from Chantel Simpson.
Yes.
If you did not wait the 90 days in 2013, is that a problem?
Yes. Yes. The 90 days to get married, yes, you may need a waiver, maybe not. We have to know more about the situation. Because this is what the law says. If you came within the first 30 days, absolutely fraud. If you get married between 30 and 90, the presumption is fraud, but you may be able to talk your way out of it after 90 days, no presumption. So, you may need a waiver. That may be it.
Suga gave us some more info. She said that she came.
Some more intel?
Some more intel. Ooh,
yes.
intel.
You like that, right?
I like that. Ooh, we're CIA agents, guys.
By the way, I was watching my new favorite show this weekend.
Oh,
what is it?
This is going to be rich.
Right,
You have
Will and Grace. I don't know why.
What?
You've never seen that show?
Well, no, the new one.
Oh, it's
I've actually never seen
Yeah,
it.
it is so funny.
You guys, that is me and my best friend.
It is so funny.
I need to watch that.
What?
I need to watch it. I've never watched an episode.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, there was one episode where, and the only reason I'm saying this is because they had a whole episode about breadcrumbing. And I know Jill loves the term breadcrumbing, but it was the whole show was about breadcrumbing on Instagram.
I breadcrumbed with someone this weekend, actually.
So, but it was a very funny episode I watched. I'm sorry to interrupt the social, but it just made me laugh. Where there was a baker in New York City who refused to make a Make America Great cake for a Trump party, and it was Make America Great Again is MAGA, M-A-G-A,
M-A-G-A,
right? So they instead put an I and a Y at the end, and then the cake said I'm a gay.
You wanted a MAGA cake?
Yes,
you got a MAGA cake.
Right. It says I and Y on the other.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's a fantastic show.
It was hilarious. So I can't recommend it enough. Okay, continue.
Oh, it's fantastic. Sugar Apple's intel was that she's wondering if she can go ahead and file through citizenship through her mother, because mom was already a citizen when she moved here in her teens. So mom moved here with Sugar Apple.
Okay, Sugar, I need a little more information because she's 40 now?
Yeah.
Okay. Was mom married to dad before you were 18, and did they ever get a divorce? Or is dad dead, and if God forbid he is, was it before you were 18? We need to know this information, Sugar. Sugar. Yeah, I got it with the H.
Like
with the H.
I like the way you say
it. You should start calling people that.
Yeah, Sugar.
It just like
everybody's Sugar.
Yeah.
Except if it's Willie. I'm not going to call Willie Sugar.
It'd be good if you walked into a console and you're like, hey, Sugar. That'll make you feel good.
All right. I have one from Keisha Thomas. What documents do you need to have or requirements to get a U.S. visa for vacation?
A new S visa?
U.S. visa.
A U.S. visa. Oh, what are the requirements for a visitor's visa to America? Proof that you're going to return at the end of your vacation. That's the best proof. Going home. What do you have to prove that you're going to go home? Okay? So, and it depends what you're coming to do here. I mean, if you're coming to visit your boyfriend, they may think that you're coming to live here. If you're getting a hotel room, for example, and you don't know anybody here, and you have enough funds to support your trip here, and you have proof that you're going home to a job or whatever, maybe that's a better route. I don't know. You know, everybody's a little different.
All right.
That's all we got for right now.
That's all we got. Yeah. All right. So now I had spoken to, and I want everybody. This is probably one of the best things we've done here in terms of serious stuff. Okay. So I want everybody to watch this. Okay, I had done an interview with a guy by the name of Miguel Perez. This is so good. We're gonna do this in 4 parts.
Oh wow!
Whoa. Okay, so we're gonna watch a little bit about it. We're gonna talk about it. Then we're gonna watch a little more about it, and then we'll watch the rest tomorrow.
Wow.
Okay, this is like the Harry Potter show.
I was just classes in session.
So, this is like Harry Potter. We have to come back for 2 times. Now, Miguel Perez. Okay. Here's a guy who was basically, I'll give you a little background. Okay. Before everybody shuts this off, this is really important stuff. Yeah. Okay. He came from Mexico when he was 8. He lived here, never had a problem. Went to college here, joined the military, and was not only was he in the military, but he was in the forward bases in Afghanistan during the war in Afghanistan, where they would go out at night and be like snipers in the middle of the night, hunting the bad guys, the Taliban. So during one of his tours of duty, a grenade went off right next to him. Several of his comrades died. He had some no, he did not. He did have that, but he had dramatic brain injury. He had a dramatic brain injury, and as a result of that, he wasn't able to function well. Came back to America, never knowing that he was not a citizen. I mean, he knew he was a citizen, but he didn't really think anything of it. He said, you know what, served 2 tours of duty, never gave any thought to it. Was with a friend who did a small buy and bust. His friend was with Friend got caught in a small buy and bust with a small amount of drugs. He was in the car when it happened. He went to jail and got deported after basically almost risking his life for the United States of America. Let's watch. Joining us today is Pastor Emma Lozano and Miguel Perez. You may remember Pastor Lozano. She presides over a sanctuary church in Chicago, Illinois. She was recently on our show. Pastor Lozano just returned from Tijuana, where she was trying to assist Miguel Perez. Now, Miguel Perez came to the United States from Mexico with his family legally with a green card at the age of 8. He served 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan with the United States Army. After receiving a general discharge under honorable conditions, he returned back to Chicago, Illinois, where he found himself struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder from what he experienced in Afghanistan and related drug and alcohol issues that eventually, unfortunately for him, led to his arrest and an aggravated felony charge for a sale of cocaine to an undercover police officer. He was sentenced to several years in jail. He was recently deported back to Mexico on March 23rd of this year, approximately 8 or 9 weeks ago. He's joining us with Pastor Lozano from Mexico. Pastor Lozano is in Chicago, and they're both joining us today to discuss Miguel's case. Miguel, you're not doing as well as the rest of us, I presume.
No, not really. I'm doing just day to day.
Right. So you're in Tijuana, Mexico right now, correct?
That is also correct.
Yeah. And Pastor Lozano, how are you? Welcome back to our show. And you are Skyping in from Chicago, Illinois?
That's correct, and I'm doing fine, and I just am worried about Miguel.
Of course. So let's find out a little bit about him first. You came to the United States at age 8. Why did your parents move here from Mexico?
My father played semi-professional soccer, and they offered him a job with a soccer team from Chicago, the Chicago Sting. That team's no longer in existence, but that's the reason that we came. And we came here legally because my grandfather's a natural-born citizen of the United States.
And when you came here, where did you reside?
In Chicago.
And you grew up in Chicago? You went to high school in Chicago?
Yes, I went to grammar school, 1st to 8th grade, 4 years of high school, and college in Chicago.
Where did you go to college in Chicago?
St. Augustine College.
Okay, and did you get an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree?
I actually finished. I was a few credits short of my associates, and I finished my associates while in prison.
I understand. And at what point? And I assume up to the point when you joined the military, you never had any issues with the law. Is that correct?
That's correct. Just minor stuff.
Okay. When you joined the military, how old were you and what year was this?
This was in 2001. It was April 2001. I joined up by around my 23rd birthday.
And this was right before 9/11. What made you want to join the U.S. military?
Well, my grandfather's side of the family, there's a lot of military. We come from a military family. His cousins and uncles, they served from World War II, Korea, Vietnam. So when I was little, I used to go to California to Disneyland in Sacramento, Anaheim area, and I would sit there and listen to their stories. And I always grew up thinking that I wanted to join the military at one point. Plus, I felt the duty. I felt just the civil duty to defend the country. Even if we were not at war, if it was in wartime, I felt that the training was necessary just in case something would happen in the future.
And so you come from a long family and history of family members who honorably served the United States in World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War. When you entered the U.S. military, were you aware that you were not a citizen of the United States, despite the fact you knew you wanted to, you had your civic duty or felt the civic duty to represent the United States?
That is correct. The only thing that I thought was the difference between a permanent resident and a citizen was the duty, jury duty, and the right to vote.
Right.
That was the only thing.
So you never gave thought ever that the United States would never be your home for the rest of your life?
Oh, absolutely not.
And so when you joined the military, you went into basic training?
That is correct. I went into basic training, and then I went to AIT.
What is AIT?
AIT is Advanced Individual Training, the school that the Army provides for where your job's gonna, what your MOS is gonna be. And the day that I graduated from AIT, September 11th, 2001, about 8:30 in the morning, as the first plane was hitting the Twin Towers.
That must have been scary for you, I guess. You said, okay, it's on now, right?
That is correct. When we marched back from the chapel to the main barracks, and that's when we were informed that the United States was under attack. And what I initially thought was that it was just a speech that they give to everybody that's graduating to let you know that this might happen any given time. But a few minutes later, we found out that it was just too real. A day later, I went to Georgia to Fort Benning for airborne school.
For airborne school.
Airplanes.
And how long was that?
That was 3 weeks.
Was that the first time you ever jumped out of a plane?
That is correct.
Scary?
Absolutely, yes. I got kicked out the first time, kicked out the plane.
Right, because you didn't want to jump.
Correct.
And then I know just from the history of 9/11, it was only several weeks later that President George W. Bush went on television and said that we are now going to go to war against Afghanistan. How long after that presidential speech were you shipped off to Afghanistan?
I was in Afghanistan March 2002.
Okay, so approximately 6-7 months into the war, you got shipped off to Afghanistan.
That is correct.
And what was your job for the military in Afghanistan? What were you required to do?
My initial job was to be a light wheel mechanic, which is a quick fix for Humvees. For example, flat tire or it's overheating. It's just quick fix for when something's wrong with the truck. But when we got to Afghanistan, I took a whole different role. I got put with the Special Forces team guys, and I was shipped out to their fire bases. Fire bases is just small little bases out in the middle of nowhere, really. And I took different types of jobs. So the main job that I had was operating the 50 caliber on top of the Humvee.
So you were sent out into basically the forward positions where they had small little camps in the middle of nowhere, and then you had to go out on missions and operate the gun on top of a Humvee, like a little Jeep. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And was that for offensive purposes, or was that for protection of troops going in and out of the camp?
It was for offensive reasons.
Right.
The unit, it was for more like seek and destroy. It was the unit that I was in concentrates on getting certain targets.
So you were seek and destroy the enemy. I guess you would go out at night. I remember the U.S. military had a much bigger advantage because they had the night goggles, and you were doing a lot of raids at night, I would assume. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. And how many raids do you think, seek and destroy raids that you went on in your first tour of duty there in Afghanistan?
Maybe about 10. There's different operations. There's small operations, and then there's big operations. So some of them really don't count. We had Operation, I don't know if they're classified still, but there's like Operation Anaconda, different operations.
Right. And on each of these missions, were you required to fire your gun at somebody?
Not on every single mission.
But on some of them, you did.
That is correct.
And do you recall if you killed enemy combatants?
It's really hard to tell.
You don't know. It's possible.
Yes.
You don't know what bullet it was. And on your first tour of duty, and if it's too difficult or too hard or too emotional, can you tell us, something that keeps you up at night, or that you remember that really is upsetting to you about what you experienced or what you saw?
Yeah, it's kind of hard, but one of the main things that keeps coming back to me is the smell of blood and bone fragments, and maybe a 12-year-old boy that was split in half by a 50 caliber at close range, and that's one of the main things that's reoccurring.
In your mind.
That is correct. That's the main, because of my son and because of my daughter. So it's just, at the time it was just, it didn't matter really.
It was more adrenaline at the time, I assume, correct? And you came back and you were, I guess, high on adrenaline.
That is correct, because you think that you're doing the right thing and everybody is below you.
Right, because it's
So
either
it's-
because, and if you didn't do the right thing, you would have been dead, or your colleague or your friend next to you would have been dead.
That is correct.
And how long were you in Afghanistan on your first go round?
I returned in October.
And you returned, so you were there for about 6 months. You did about 10 missions. You definitely saw combat. You were on seek and destroy. You came back. What was it like to come back to the United States? You have a wife. You have children. Tell me about your family here.
Upon the first return, everything was fun and everything was still adrenaline. I came back to Chicago to spend some time with my daughter and my wife. We weren't married at the time. We were just my daughter's mother.
Right.
We spent some time, but most of the time it was just partying, because of the 6 months that we were back. It was like to regroup, and we were only attending formation Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So every week was a 4-day weekend. So
Right.
I was going down to Florida, Myrtle Beach. There was a lot of partying, a lot of stress release.
Sure. And then you got the call back to go back to Afghanistan again. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You didn't have an option to say no. You had to go back.
There's always an option. There's always an option. You can say no, or you can refuse. So there's consequences. But there was no reason for me to refuse. I kind of wanted to go back. And the second time going back is when I actually, before I left, about 3 weeks before I left, I got legally married to my daughter's mother for purposes, because there was just a small feeling that I might not be coming back.
Right.
And the reason that we got married was just a peace of mind.
Peace of mind. And of course, you would be able to get benefits from the government should anything, God forbid, happen to you.
Correct.
Now, you got married. You went back to Afghanistan when? I guess this would be fall of 2003?
Yes, that's April, beginning of April.
April 2003. And did you go back to the same position again, or did you have a different position now?
The same thing. The same thing. We're attached to the teams. They're called teams. It's a 12-man team that they have, the Green Berets, the Special Forces, and they attach either a mechanic and a cook to them to go out on the different fire bases.
And were you on the same fire base or a different fire base?
On different fire base. The main fire base that I was in was called Firebase Gecko, southeast of Kandahar.
And you did the same exact thing again. You went out on night raids and you engaged the enemy. And some nights nothing happened, and other nights I assume there was a firefight.
That is correct.
And how long did you stay in Afghanistan for this second tour?
Also till October. It was the same rotation. I was there till the end of October of 2003.
Okay. And then at that point, I understand from the notes you were honorably discharged from the military. Is that correct?
A year later, August 2004.
Okay, but you did those 2 tours.
That is correct.
All right, so Miguel, so far, he comes to the United States as a green card holder. His grandfather served in World War II. All of his relatives, uncles, served in the Korean War, Vietnam War. The only reason why he wasn't, a U.S. citizen is his father was a soccer player, moved back to Mexico to play soccer, and then came back to the United States when Miguel was 8 years old.
Right.
Miguel entered with a green card. He assumed his family's all citizens. He has a green card. He never really bothered with anything. He has a civic duty, especially after 9/11, to go join the U.S. military and fight for the country that he loves. And he does, and he goes to Afghanistan, and he's not peeling potatoes in the kitchen in the back. Right. He's on forward bases, going out on kill missions to go kill the enemy for the United States of America, protecting for what we understand to be our rights and our liberty here in the United States of America, protecting everybody in the United States of America to be safe. That was why he went.
Right.
He's now living in Tijuana, Mexico. Jonathan.
It's just, I'm not usually speechless, but this is, it's just sad. Like, I can't imagine just knowing what your life is supposed to be like. When you asked him, did you ever think that you would ever not live in the United States?
Never gave a thought.
Yeah. Never gave a thought because, and I put myself, this is the thing with situations like this. You have to put yourself in that situation. You know, me being born here, you know, with my family being from Africa, Nigeria, and Ethiopia, like, I'm putting myself in this situation. Say that they were in the war, and I, you know, just thought that, hey, I'm American. Hey, I want to live this American dream. I want to fight for my country.
Well, how about this? I'm fighting for. I lived here since I was 8 years old, and I've joined the military, and I'm fighting for the United States of America.
Risking my life.
Why in the world would you ever think you would get deported? Ever?
Right.
You wouldn't.
Now, what's sad is what you're going to hear about is the problems about people who were in the military in combat coming back to the United States. You know, you think about, we're going to hear about this in about 30 seconds or so. You know, think about if you were going out on a raid in the middle of the night and you could be killed at any moment. You're in a firefight for your life with everybody else. Think about, you know, if you're even on like Fortnite now. I don't know if you ever played Fortnite, okay? Right. But I mean, it's very intense and your life is on the line. The adrenaline rush that you have, especially when you come back, is second to none. I can't even probably picture it. Now come back to the United States. Where's that adrenaline rush coming from?
Yeah,
it doesn't come from anywhere.
You're
mowing the lawn. You're changing baby diapers. There's no adrenaline rush anymore. So this is why people have these post-traumatic stress disorders, because they're not getting that adrenaline rush anymore. Why you see a lot of people in the military turning to alcohol and drugs. It's a psychological problem. Yeah. It's a psychological problem the U.S. military is not taking care of,
what I was about
especially
to say,
especially for immigrants who put their life on the line.
They barely take care of the soldiers, the American soldiers now.
So let's watch to see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I guess everybody, as they grow up, has some sort of, you know, casual alcohol use or even casual drug use, right or wrong. When did it start to get out of control for you, and why was it getting out of control?
Well, upon my second return, it was alcohol. Alcohol was always involved after the first return, but it was drugs, especially powder cocaine, came into play after my second return. And you come back to the United States and everything is slow. Everything is slow. It's as far as it's a combination of everything, the people's action and everything is slow, but at a fast pace.
I understand. You go from this exhilaration, this rush of exhilaration that you're shooting and people are shooting at you and your life could be over or someone else's life can be over, and the adrenaline and the exhilaration to come back to, I guess, mowing the lawn and cooking the dinner.
That is correct. And then you see people in a hurry and do nothing. Like you see people crossing the street or just speeding, and it's just, especially in the city, you see commotion and everything, and you're like, why? You know, like, what's this all about? You're just confused.
Right.
And the only time that I was able to be relaxed was under the effects of alcohol and powder cocaine.
Right, and I guess the powder cocaine gave you that adrenaline rush that you were missing from being out in the field.
To feel awake.
Correct. Did your wife notice a change in you, or your family notice a change in you?
Yes, because upon my return, after getting out the military and coming back home, I did not move back in with my wife. We just we went our separate ways. Yes, I would see my daughter anytime I wanted, on the weekends or every day after school, but we were no longer living together.
Did anybody in your family try to get you help?
At first, my mother would tell me if something was wrong, but I was in denial. I didn't really express anything, so I would disappear a lot, and they thought that I was out with friends, maybe partying,
right.
And also my friends, they thought that I was at home because I didn't come around. But the truth was that I was just by myself most of the time.
And did anybody in the military, here you served two tours of duty, you were honorably discharged from the military. What was their role in trying to help you to reacquaint yourself, I guess, or put you back into society at a slower pace, or reacquaint yourself back in society without the alcohol and drugs, or nobody ever checked on you on that from the military side?
No, there was no transition period. There was no transition period. They have like, at that time, they weren't, it wasn't like it is now. I see now that they have a lot of programs. Back then, it was just maybe a half-hour class or an hour class where you just talk about feelings, and it was just something very minimal.
But nobody ever checked on you. Hey, you doing okay? You having a problem with drugs or alcohol? It was just you came back. Thank you very much for your service. Goodbye.
Yes, pretty much, yes.
At what point you were arrested? Tell us about what happened there and how you ended up going from using drugs and alcohol to what was alleged to have been an undercover sale of cocaine to a police officer, to an undercover police officer.
Upon my return from the military when I was in Chicago, I met with a childhood friend, and he was a drug dealer. But I would affiliate with him just to go out to parties, and it was free drugs for me, free drugs and free party. So every time that I needed anything, I would just call him. We would get together, maybe go to the casino or hang around for a little bit. And every time I would leave with drugs. That's what it was. It was like that for a while. And this happened in 2008 when by that time I had met somebody else and my son was born. And me and my son's mother were fighting because of the same thing again. She was telling me, that there was something wrong, that I needed to get help, that I needed to go to the VA hospital.
So this is 5 years of a downward, or 4 years of a downward spiral into drugs and alcohol. And although your family tried to intervene, no one from the military ever even called you once.
No, my mother was the first one that started pushing me to go to the VA hospital around at the end of 2006 and the beginning of 2007.
Only because your mother told you to do so.
That is correct. And when we went to the VA hospital, the first time, they told me to come back in about a month or two. When I came back, they gave me a bunch of medication. I cannot recall what the medication was, but it was a lot of medication. And then they scheduled me to come back in a few months, or when I was having any episode and my mother would take me, I would have to sit there maybe for like hours, and then it would be like a 16-hour wait. So I would just take off.
What was the test that they did for you? And you don't know what they were what were they treating you for? Were they treating you for drug dependence, or were they treating you for something else?
They did an MRI or a CAT scan, and they were treating me for PTSD. They were treating me for back pain. They were treating me for TBI, traumatic brain injury.
How did you get a TBI? That's a very serious thing. Did you fall or get hit in the head while you were on duty?
It was different. It was multiple explosions. One incident, it involved a flashbang grenade blowing up right about here. And a flashbang grenade is it's like a concussion grenade. It's the one that you throw to stun everybody. And one of the local children found one, and I would never know if he thought that it was a real explosive grenade, that he did it just to take us all out, or maybe he thought it was some sort of a toy, and he pulled the pin, and it blew, and he blew his skin off, and you could see a little bit of his bone, and it happened right here. And when that happened, I was out. It was a concussion, and also I fell off the truck because we didn't carry doors. There's no doors on the Humvees.
Is this the second tour of duty or the first tour of duty this happened?
This is the second one.
Second one. Now, and were they treating you at the VA hospital? Did they know about your drug dependence as well, or that was really not discussed at all?
Not really. It wasn't really discussed.
It was really just your post-traumatic stress disorder. You had a traumatic brain injury, and they were treating you for that. And they just gave you a pill and said, come back in 2 months.
That is correct.
Outside of the pills they gave you, and you went back and forth for, I guess, for a checkup, did they do anything else for you?
No.
Nothing?
No, not at the time. No, it was under construction. It was a lot of things going on. They had there's two hospitals in Chicago, one in Maywood and the other one close to downtown Chicago. One of them was under construction and the other one was almost finished. So it was a lot of running around.
Basically, you're being treated at the VA at the most basic minimal level, and you've been going on a downward spiral of drugs and alcohol for years. The VA doesn't even know about it. No doctor's treating you for it. And you now wind up in a situation where you're handing drugs over to an undercover cop. Were you aware of what you were doing at that moment?
I want to say yes, but I was under the effects of alcohol and drugs. And what happened, I was not even supposed to be there that day.
You were under the effects of which drugs? The drugs that the VA gave you, or just cocaine and alcohol?
Cocaine and alcohol, and a little bit of the ones that the VA gave me. It was some muscle relaxers, I believe. My friend was under investigation for like 9 months. They had recorded buys. And the day that they decided they were gonna take him in, that's the day that I was with him.
So your friend. They were following your friend, and you just happened to be with him at that moment.
That is correct.
Right.
I wasn't home for like 3 days because of a fight with my son's mother. And I was staying at his house. And when he was gonna go drop me off at my son's mother, we stopped.
That's when the arrest happened. And had you not got into a fight with your son's mother, you wouldn't have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and we would not be talking to you in Tijuana, Mexico.
That is correct.
So when you went, you were charged in federal court or in state court?
State court.
State court. Did your criminal defense attorney bring up because you have to show, that you had the intent, you had the mental culpability to know what you're doing, which is selling drugs to an undercover cop. Did he bring up or she bring up the fact that you had not only post-traumatic stress disorder, but even more a traumatic brain injury, plus you were on all different kinds of medication, including muscle relaxers and other medication the VA gave you? Was that brought up in terms of your mental state and what you were doing at that moment?
No, it wasn't. I asked the attorney once. I was like, "Can we mention to the lawyer, to the judge that I'm a United States Army veteran and all this issues?" And he advised me not to. He told me that if the judge were to find out that I served in the military, that he was going to say I should have known better, and he was going to give me more time.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know the judges in Chicago, but I would say that certainly the fact that when you have a traumatic brain injury, your brain is not functioning at the level in which it should be for your age and gender. So certainly it diminishes, what your mental capacity was in terms of your intent. Now, something to look at down the line. Perhaps maybe even one of my criminal defense attorneys can look at it as well. Because ultimately, I mean, I don't want to get into all of the legal issues at this moment, but ultimately, you're only going to come back to the United States either as a United States citizen, or if you can vacate that conviction, or have a senator. I know Senator Duckworth is in your corner, or have a senator make a private bill.
That is correct. Also,
death, right. When you die, you can go into Arlington Cemetery. So now you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You plead guilty to what in court in Chicago?
It was called manufacture and delivery. In the state of Illinois, if it's packaged, it's a manufacture and delivery, and that's what I pled guilty to. Also, my co-defendant he was out on bond and he fled the country. He fled to Mexico.
So he's still on the run.
He's dead.
He's dead now.
He was killed in Mexico in 2012 while I was in prison.
How long were you in prison?
7.5 years.
And in the 7.5 years in prison, how did you get treated for your post-traumatic stress disorder? How did you get treated for your drug and alcohol dependence? And how did you get treated for your traumatic brain injury?
I think that going to prison is probably the best thing that ever happened. I mean, I understand that it has the consequences that I'm here now, but as far as my physical health, it was probably the best thing that could ever happen because I started seeing a psychiatrist once a month, a psychologist twice a month, group meetings, alcohol and substance abuse programs, and I started learning how to deal with what was going on with my life, and I've been drug-free since the day that I entered prison.
And you haven't touched it since?
Not at all.
And now, unfortunately, you pled guilty to an aggravated felony. And what the law says is it is an aggravated felony to manufacture and sell narcotics. If you're found guilty of an aggravated felony after April of 1996 as a lawful permanent resident,
despite your military service. It's an automatic deportation unless you can show your life is in danger in Mexico. Did you feel your life was ever going to be in danger in Mexico because your friend got killed?
I'm still pretty much, still in danger.
All right. So basically, you know, what we learned is that he did 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. On his second tour of duty, besides all of the stress of going through, you know, these offensive missions in the middle of the night, killing the bad guys, there were several grenades, he said more than one, that went off near him that ultimately gave him a traumatic brain injury as well as his post-traumatic stress disorder. He goes on a drug and alcohol binge when he comes back, you know, just from everything that went on. The VA hospital doesn't do anything to help him except give him more drugs. His wife finally throws him out of the house that he had children with, says, I can't deal with this anymore. And he's stupid enough to go live on the couch of his best friend, who happens to be a drug dealer under investigation by local law enforcement or the U.S. Attorney's Office, or whoever ended up ultimately arresting him. And he just happens to be sleeping on the guy's couch and going around with him for a couple of days when the feds or the state of Illinois decide to bust him. He ends up 7.5 years in jail, and he's talking to us from Tijuana, Mexico. It's absolutely not only insane, completely unfair. What happened to him. Now, obviously, he did wrong, and he served 7.5 years in jail. But don't you think that's punishment enough?
Absolutely.
For what he's done for the United States of America?
Absolutely.
We're going to find out tomorrow. We're going to find out tomorrow how his deportation process went, how he ended up back in Mexico, and what he's doing now. So please watch tomorrow for the second half of our interview with Miguel. In the meantime, we have a few minutes left. I see Nicolette from Miramar, Florida, has been waiting 45 minutes to talk to me.
Sheesh.
So let's talk to Nicolette first, and then we're going to finish up with social media
Cool.
and our comments of the day. Nicolette. Hi,
Hi,
Nicolette. Nicolette. All right, 1 second. Let's try it one more time. Nicolette's been waiting so long that she's like having conversations with other people. All right, let's try it one more time. Nicolette, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
What could I do to help you?
No, I remember I called earlier about asking you the question about how long does it take for you to get an interview date?
Yes. Okay, and you've been on hold
And
this whole time? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Come on. Come on. You don't need to have her on hold for 45 minutes. No. For that? I blame Fiona. Fiona, come on. You know better than that. Joe, please make sure somebody speaks to Nicolette. All right, let's go to social media, please.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Where we at? Hey. All right, so I have one from Christopher Brown. He says, hey, Brad, my name is Christopher. I overstayed in the U.S. and was deemed as aggregate felony.
Aggravated felony.
Okay, so that's aggravated felony.
Yes.
Okay, and got deported in Jamaica and got a permanent bar.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm still here in Jamaica, still over 12 years now. Can I ever get a visa to go back to America?
Unfortunately, permanent means permanent. Sorry.
It's unfortunate.
Which is why Miguel is in Mexico right now.
So that's permanent.
Permanent.
There's nothing.
No, unless there's a special bill made for him or he comes back as a U.S. citizen. The only way he would come back as a U.S. citizen, which we'll learn tomorrow, is perhaps he's a U.S. citizen to his father. Perhaps he can get his conviction vacated and then apply for naturalization based on his service and honorable discharge from the U.S. military.
Oh my God. Garfield Trout wants to know something very official, I feel like. I want to get married to someone that lives in Jamaica and I'm a U.S. citizen. Her divorce papers had a mistake and they had to be submitted back to the courts in Jamaica. And this is probably a stupid question. There are no stupid questions. Most likely a stupid question, but can I go ahead and file for that fiancé visa in the meantime while they're doing the corrections at the Jamaican courts? Or do I need to wait to have the final paper from the court in Jamaica?
Well, I'm not sure what the problem with the correction is but you know, is your
fiance free to marry? That's the question. I don't know what, I would need to see what paperwork you have. What is the divorce? Was it just a misspelling of her name? Is it something more serious? Is there a final divorce order? I don't know.
Okay, I have one from Marv White. I have a cousin who became an American citizen and went to Jamaica and married a guy there. She took him to the state where she lives. She recently moved him to New York and left him and went back to her home. Now she's threatening to send him back to Jamaica and also held onto his green card. What can he do to prevent her action?
He has a 2-year or a 10-year?
Does not say.
Well, you could just apply for a new green card. You lost your green card. It's misplaced. Somebody's holding it. Apply for a new green card. Now, if you need to go from a 2 to a 10-year, well, then get a divorce as well, and then prove it was a real marriage.
A friend of Javel says, a friend of mine had a one-entry student visa that they came in for a college weekend in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They went back home to Jamaica, and now they want to go to a different school in New York. And they're here now and want to apply for a new student visa. Could they go ahead and do so?
Well, you wouldn't apply for a new student visa. You apply for a change of school from the Oklahoma school to the New York school. Get a new I-20 from the new school, and then apply for an extension of your student visa.
I'm not sure that they're a student at the
What are
school
they?
because it says that they had a one-time student visa just for a college weekend in Tulsa, so it sounds like they're touring colleges. But he's already in New York.
Well, you can apply for the student visa, but I would suggest going home to pick up a new visa to come back.
All right, I have one from Shachmo Hastings. I filed for my son in 2014, and he is now 32 years old. How long will it take? He is in the Caribbean.
About another 2 years.
We've got a question from Isha Bunisha coming back. The friend that was in jail for fraud, she was actually in jail in Jamaica for credit card fraud, and she was locked up for 6 months. But is that going to affect her when she's applying here?
Yes, she'll need a waiver, but as long as she can get a waiver, it should be okay.
All right, I have one from Shango. If you have a simple assault charge in New Jersey, is that a simple disorderly persons charge? And does that trigger inadmissibility or just deportation?
I would need to see the disposition to see exactly what you're found guilty of. A disorderly conduct is not deportable, not inadmissible. An assault may be deportable, may be inadmissible, depending on what you pled guilty to.
We've got a question from Shango who says, if you have a simple assault charge...
Didn't we just ask that?
I just did that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's one of those days.
It's one of those days. It's one of those days. That's all we got.
We do have one from Gavin.
All right, Gavin, and then comment of the day.
Yes. All right, how long will it take if a mother filed for her kids over 21 unmarried and they're here on their B2 visa?
6 to 7 years. Don't overstay on your B2 visa. Go home.
Don't overstay.
Don't overstay. And comment of the day.
Comment of the day.
Drum roll, please.
It's from Terry Hall. She's got 2 Whoppers.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh.
Whoa. Everyone, Jeff Bosey was driving. He must have come to a complete, he slammed on his brakes to hear comment of the day. I just saw the comments section. He says, I'm driving. I've just listened to the last 3 minutes. It must have been his car that just came to a complete standstill. Almost causing, I don't know what the boing was. I hope he didn't get into an accident.
Right.
Yeah, that was like a cartoon accident noise.
All right.
Terry Hall, she's had a big week this week because on Saturday, Terry Hall is getting married and it's her birthday. Congratulations to me.
She's going to celebrate her anniversary and birthday on the same day.
I want to divvy it up so that you get more presents.
But hey, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
But she had a follow-up, Brad, with all of the crazy birthday and wedding planning. Do you know what she still has time to do, Brad?
Share.
She still has time
to share.
You're the real
Come on.
MVP.
So that law office of Spar Bernstein has no excuses.
And she shares on law offices of Spar and Bernstein.
Yes.
She says that's why even if I don't, bye. She said even if I don't get to watch the show, I still share.
There we are. We're back now. And do we have a final tally on sharing?
Ooh, Sam,
a final tally, Sam.
A final
one.
tally. I I see a final tally.
What is the final tally? Why don't you announce it?
Okay, it's 263 to 63, you guys.
Wow.
200 exact shares more.
It's over 300.
Brad Show Live. Congratulations.
Brad Show Live. You killed
Congratulations. We'll
4
see
days
you
in a
all
row.
tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll be back 5:30 sharp. But you never know. It could be 5:35 depending on how our equipment is working. But hopefully it'll be 5:30 sharp tomorrow. We'll see you then. So Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465.